I apologise in advance, everyone. I had some real issues with the focus in this video, so I've had to have a number of transitions. So hopefully that's not too off-putting. Now this is the piece that I started in the last video, and I'm just continuing on with the running stitch here in the Boro-style. And I've chosen a green thread at the moment. As you can see, I have a lot of green fabrics in this. And I don't want it to stand out as much as the white. I do like sometimes to just use all the white fabric, sorry, the white thread, but I also like to use up some of my other threads. Now this is 3 strands of embroidery floss, and I'm just using a embroidery needle with a fairly large eye so that when I use the crochet thread it goes through easily. I seem to have lost my thread and needle here, trying to desperately rethread it. Okay, ready to go again. So just making sure that that edge there is tacked under, and I think I might just go back the way I came. Now it's quite thick in some areas here because the fabrics are all of different weights, so I'm just going slow, one stitch at a time, because it's easier for me to get the needle and thread through. And of course at this stage I've just unthreaded that needle again. Okay, I'm just going to go through to the back here because I'm running out of thread, and oops, now I'll just do one more stitch. Okay, so now I'm going to tie this piece off, thread it through, and I haven't left a lot, so I'm just going to tie a knot in this before I start with the next colour. I like to snip the threads as I go, flatten it out, check that I haven't again got too much tension, and I'm going to snip off these little pieces around the edge because to make sure that I'm always stitching on to the background fabric. Now the next piece I'm going to use some of that off-white cream coloured crochet thread. I really like this thread. I normally purchase it at my local op shop, and I have a good supply of it in a number of colours, mostly the traditional cream whitish colour, but I do have lovely blues, pinks, yellows, the variety of colours that it comes in. I particularly like this cream on the green background. Again, the stitching moves fairly quickly with this simple running stitch. Just making sure here and on this purple bit to get that raw edge tacked down. Again, the purple piece is a modern quilting piece. It's quite thick, good quality fabric, so a bit tougher to get through there, but one stitch at a time you eventually do get through. Okay, I'm going to remove that little bit of tacking thread because I don't need it anymore. I've got enough running stitches here now to hold the fabric in place. So it makes it a lot easier. You can move through a bit quicker now. Just checking there how much I've got, whether I've got enough to go back in the direction I came, or if I'm going to continue on through the green piece. And as you can see, I've decided to go back the way I came. I don't always follow through completely in a line. Sometimes I will go, as in this piece, most of the pieces are going horizontally. Sometimes I'll do vertical pieces, but given that in this piece I have a block of more solid colour and then I have all the little scrap pieces, I just want the stitching to be quite simple. I want to be able to see the little scrap pieces, and I also want to enjoy the straight stitching on the more larger block piece. Now I'm getting close to the end again. I don't have a lot of thread here, so I am going to just tie that off. I'm not going to struggle too much with it. I'll loop it through and then sew it through the back just to give it a bit of security. Okay, I through again through the back, just threading the thread through, and that should be enough to hold it firmly. Now, that's looking good. Oh, there's another piece of tacking thread. I think I'll take that out now. Don't really need it anymore. I'm going back to the brown coloured thread that I used at the bottom there, because I already have the 3 strands and I just want to use them all up. Just checking where I want to actually start this colour, and I'm going to go for the centre again to break up the white threads, and because this section I need to actually secure this little piece of floral as best I can. This little floral is a piece of reclaimed blouse fabric. It's very, very fine fabric, but it's great for pieces like this because it adds a little pop of colour with the red and the yellow. I don't tend to use a lot of yellow when I do quilting or any other project. Yellow and pink are fabrics that I don't use very much, and I occasionally use orange. And yes, I'm off the screen again, terribly sorry. I need to get back into the center of frame so that you can actually see. I like red, I like purple, I like green. So they are the major colours that I tend to use. However, when I go to my quilting group, as I said before, people will actually give me little scraps of fabrics, and other people have different tastes, so I end up with a nice array of colours that I wouldn't personally purchase myself. I sometimes purchase fabrics at op shops. Our local op shop actually does little bags of scraps. They have a lady who is a quilter, and she makes up little bags of scraps for sale. And you usually get some very interesting and diverse prints and patterns in those, which I find fabulous because then I get a great assortment of things and the fabric doesn't go to waste. Okay, so I've done that line. It's looking pretty good. Now I've got to decide what colour I'm going to use next. The green's nice, that's deeper burgundy colour, don't know about that. The orange is nice, because we have the orange in the flower. That's a bit of a tamer orange and probably closer to the flower orange. But I really do want something that gives a bit of a pop of colour now, because it's all becoming a bit the same. Again, I'll just be using 3 strands of the embroidery floss. Now down the bottom you can see that I've got one line that goes completely horizontal, and then I have one above that that's only really half a line. So I think I need to do something about that with the orange. Not that it really worries me, but I think it might be good just to kind of finish that off a little bit. And give the whole piece a bit of uniformity, because all the other lines, or most of the other lines, go directly across. And with the bold orange, I think it would be better to go completely across the piece. And that's what my brain's telling me at the moment, so we'll see how we go, making sure that I've got the stitches not too tense there. I don't want puckering if I can help it. There's a bit of a thread that's having a bit uneven there. Okay, didn't really deal with that very well, but I'll fix it as I go along. The challenge of getting the thread through the needle. I do have a needle threader, but it doesn't tend to work with the embroidery floss because it's just a little bit too thick. So I just have to be patient and persevere, and usually I get it through. Really like that little bit of purple and black fabric with a little check on it. It's a nice pop of something different in this piece. So now what I'm going to do is that little bit of thread that was really annoying me before and I couldn't get it to sit flat, I'm actually just going to sew over the top of that and blend it all in together. Sometimes when I do this slow stitching and this Boro-style, I sometimes double stitch things if I want a little bit of extra texture. So that seems to have flattened it out a little better. I like that. And now I've just got to use up this little bit of remaining orange thread. So we'll go back in this direction because I do like the orange against the green. It really does pop nicely. Just trying to adjust my thread here because it's getting a little frayed and a bit out of control. It's such a nice orange. I really do like that orange. It's also nice on the lime green. Pops really nicely. Gives a bit of a colour difference. Okay, so we're nearly finished for today. I'm just going to tie this little piece off and it will be done. So, thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video and hope to see you again next time.